We couldn't have done this without BetterEarth Logistics. We really partnership with them quite a bit in getting our kiosk up and going. Part of you mentioned was we did a new resource and recovery management plan, which is part of our IEPA plan. We kind of wanted to rebrand ourselves because seems like people were getting away from doing a lot of the recycling, composting, things like that. And composting had never been part of our plan in the past. So this is one of the things that we did add to our new plan. And our plan actually goes through 2038. We've actually set up steps to go that far. We have had a little bit of setback due to some COVID issues, but we still plan to push forward with that. Our Indian Creek landfill is the only landfill that we have operating in Tazewell County. It sits over the Mahana Aquifer. We don't want to ever have to hopefully site for another landfill in our county again. Right now it's expected to stay open through 2031. They are looking at acquisition for more land to hopefully stay open longer than that. And doing a study with them, we found out that 22% of what goes into our landfill is food waste. So if we could free up 22%, that would really extend the life of our landfill a lot. So that was kind of a big goal for us right now, is to make sure we can extend the life of this landfill so we don't have to worry about doing another one. In February of 2020, we reached out to Oklahoma was offering mini grants. So at that time we applied for a mini grant to do a residential composting kiosk. We kind of piggybacked off of one that is in Peoria, Illinois. Rebecca Cottrell from Peoria County Resource and Sustainability Department is the one that started the one in Peoria. She also has given us a lot of education on how to start our kiosk. And please, if you have any questions while you're going along, just let me know. You can interrupt me, that's fine. I have 3 kids, that doesn't bother me. So the main objective of the grant was to simulate the collection and landfill diversion of food waste. We aimed to increase food waste diversion using these residential compost kiosks. We wanted to make sure they were located so that everybody in the rural areas could use them along within the cities. At this time, we do not have any kind of compost site in Tazewell County, specifically for anybody to drop anything off. We do have one small community that they have a compost area just for their village, but otherwise there's nothing in our county anymore. There used to be one. We officially closed it back in maybe 2013, and there's never been another one since it has been this started. So, oops, I have lost my little clicker sharing. So after talking with Rebecca, she said theirs has been up and running for a while now. And as they've been talking to a lot of their customers that are using the kiosk, many of them have been able to go down to 1 bag of garbage a week. So that really cut down a lot on what is going into the Peoria City County landfill. And they're hoping to build off of theirs also. So we began a contract with BetterEarth for the procurement and construction of the kiosk. It would come with a push button access, so that not just everybody could walk up and put in their compost. They'd have to have like a secure card reader that would allow them access to that. You can see the white buckets in the background. That is what they actually took home for their food scraps. But you have to also have a power supply for this, because we all know in Illinois we don't necessarily have the temperatures all the time for composting to work properly. So that was kind of a little bit of a hardship for us when we started doing this. We've worked with the Rosenbaums for years now. They started the BetterEarth Logistics program clear back in 2015. When they knew that they needed to have more areas that they could haul food scraps. And they have actually now, they work with Peoria, Tazewell, Woodford, Knox County, Livingston County, and Bloomington Normal for composting to take them over to get rid of this so it doesn't go to the landfill. So this is what the kiosk looks like. If you look at the one on the right, that is the one that is actually solar powered. It did not keep our kiosk running enough to actually compost what we needed it to do. So on the left-hand side, you can see where we actually switched over to a windmill. And being where this location is pretty much right in a very rural area in Washington, the wind has worked wonderful using a windmill to keep this compost up and going. So we had a little bit of a setback there again, just because we had to switch it from that solar powered to that windmill powered option.
So a quick question.
Yes.
So you're just keeping the compost temperature regulated, or are you actually creating the composting process? What's the power needed for?
It is keeping it regulated because when it gets so cold, you know, that compost stops that breakdown process. So it's just to kind of keep everything regulated in there.
But they still have to come around and empty it and service it.
Correct. Yes. And that is BetterEarth Logistics that does that.
Okay. Thanks.
So if you look, you can see Washington is up near the northern part of our community. Finding a location was challenging. The pandemic threw a lot of hurdles our way. Nobody wanted to deal with it. People didn't want to have to kind of got in a spot where they don't want to touch things that other people might have touched. So we had a really difficult time coming up with where we were going to place our kiosk and have it really readily accessible to everybody. So we started talking with Washington. They had actually started a recycling program for cardboard and a single stream also. So they were very interested in adding this to their recycling program for their residents. So using the kiosk, and again, it's available for public use with a starter composting kit. They get these buckets. They can be purchased and picked up from the sous chef in Peoria or for BetterEarth Logistics website, which is on the other side of the river in Peoria. They contain the bucket. They get a key card for access to the kiosk, and then they get 30 compostable liners for the bucket. So they don't have to worry about dumping anything out. They just put the whole liner in there and everything. And then for continued service, after they've used those up and purchase their starter kit, they can purchase more liners from the area of sous chef and BetterEarth Logistics. So residents take their buckets, they fill them up, they use the key card to unlock the kiosk, dump their bucket in with their bag, and then the BetterEarth is picked up to be used by local farmers. I do have a picture in here later what BetterEarth looks like, what their compost looks like that they use all of the food scraps from. There we go. So now we've got the working relationship with BetterEarth, and we're looking at future ideas for other kiosks. We're hoping to add more throughout the county. We did have a huge setback when we had to go from solar power to wind powered. So we are just now in the process of starting this first kiosk. If you'd like in the future, when we get some numbers and how things go, I would come back and give you a little 5-minute presentation on, you know, how things have went once it's started. We're really hoping this will free up some space of our landfill and also help the local farmers get rid of some of their food scraps. We're really hoping that people will promote it from Washington into other communities on how easy it is and how much less waste that they actually have to get rid of, that they're composting instead of putting it in their normal garbage. So this is the inside of BetterEarth Logistics. As you can see, they actually have 3 of these tents out there now. And then once everything is composted, they move a lot of it outside, and then it is bagged up to be sold for people to put on their gardens, their flowers, or whatever they want to do it with. So when it comes back to our Ultima that we used, the first thing that we had to do was to come up with a contract with the provider for the kiosk system. We've done that. We needed to do marketing and education, which we've created educational planning. We've done design materials. We've started handing all of that out to the residents of Washington. We're doing our marketing and educational series. Here at Tazewell County, all but 2 of us are working vaccine clinics also throughout the week, Monday through Saturday. So this has also slowed down a little bit of what we've been able to do. The person that does all the educating, our marketing person, is probably works the vaccine clinics 4 days a week. So she tries to do a lot of this on a 1 day a week time. We've done some TriCounty school and community composting workshops. We've done getting ready to do a news release on this one to start up. And we've also sent releases to Washington Times Reporter, some local TV stations. It's going to be on our TCHD webpage. The Chamber of Commerce is going to advertise it, and BetterEarth Logistics is going to have it on their webpage also. So we set up an educational booth at Good Neighbor Days this year, which provided posters and flyers and compost display and how this is going to work. The Good Neighbor Day Festival is in Washington, so it is for those residents that live in that area. We are still in the process, like I said, of getting everybody to start using it. It took a little extra time for the construction of the kiosk. It was supposed to be done by June 1st. It's just getting finished up for that base model. Unfortunately, with COVID again, it slowed a lot of things down. So the next steps we want to do is monitor and report. We want to see how many number of households we can get into it by marketing it to them. The person that actually is working on this has a degree in marketing, and then she's been learning all about our solid waste plan since she has started here. We were hoping to have a final report sometime in February or March of this year, but as I said, we are just now in the process of just starting the kiosk due to the setback of COVID and everything. But that is what we hope in the future: number of subscribing households every quarter and amount of pounds diverted from the landfill every quarter. And we will get those actually from BetterEarth Logistics. We have done other projects with them that they have provided us with pounds and how much has been diverted. One of the other things we do is we offer a TriCounty Green Hero. We recognize people in the area, such as community members, neighborhoods, businesses, schools, churches, that make a difference to do sustainable and green practices at home. Actually, BetterEarth Logistics was one of our very first winners of that Green Hero Award. And you can see them there being presented with that. We work with Peoria County and Woodford on that Tri-County Green Hero Award program. And this is Becca on the left, is Becca that I spoke earlier with, that started the compost site about 9 miles away in Peoria from where this one is located at. This is actually hers in Peoria. They were able to use solar panel worked for them. We talked about a little bit going into schools. We also had Spring Lake School that is in our county. They were issued a Green Heroes Award. The kids learned about composting because they have a garden that they grow. The kids help plant all of the vegetables. They help harvest the vegetables, and then they are taken into the kitchen, where they're one of the very few schools that actually still does not get something from Airmark. They make all of their own meals. So they do things like sweet potato pie, sweet potato French fries, all different kinds of things with fruit that kids would have never tried in the past. And they have actually started composting with some help from us in order to put that back on their vegetable garden. They also have planted 15 fruit trees that they're using some of the composting material for their fruit trees for that. We developed a composting program in the Levee District that is down in the East Peoria area. We had noticed that that was very heavy. There are a lot of restaurants in this area. And there was a lot of waste generated, a lot of heavy waste generated that was going directly to the landfill. So we worked with the Levee District and we worked with BetterEarth Logistics to set up several areas that, again, the restaurants could get the white buckets, and then they had a couple areas they could walk to and they could dump their composting into these containers that BetterEarth provided. We had some barriers with this area. Some of the businesses felt it would add to the process and not be cost productive because it would take more time for their employees. Some had no room in the kitchen for a composting bin, you know, even though we explained that a lot of it was just a small bucket. Some of the facilities were interested, but then if they're owned by a corporate, a lot of the corporate weren't even interested in it. And then also if they leased their building, a lot of the garbage pickup came through their lease. So it was hard to separate out the composting section from what they were leasing and going to the normal waste trash. And then there were businesses, of course, that just showed no interest at all in composting. We also have worked in composting with a lot of our festivals that we have here. We have 3 very large ones and more building. One of our biggest is the Tremont Turkey Festival. We were actually able in 2019 with BetterEarth Logistics, we actually composted 1,600 turkey carcasses and trimmings to keep from the landfill that actually went to BetterEarth to help make compost for people to purchase. And then we have worked a lot with kids on trying to have them understand what the different carbon materials are and nitrogen materials, and educating people on how to make that a good mixture as far as getting your compost to work correctly. We do compost here at the health department. And then we have TCRC, which is right down the road from us, that does a community garden that was just accepted for WIC coupons, that a lot of our WIC clients were allowed to go down and get fresh fruits and vegetables from TCRC. So it was a profit for them, you know, getting the WIC coupons to them. So I think that is, yep, I think that's it. Does anybody have any questions?
I do. Melissa, because I got distracted with a couple phone calls, did you talk at all about cost, the cost of the kiosk with the solar panels versus the wind capability?
I did not, but I did put the base model for our kiosk with our wind was $4,720. And then we did use funds from ILSWMA to help offset some of that cost for the county.
And what was that grant? Was that 1,500?
I think it was 2,500 that year.
25, okay, great.
So, but we are fortunate enough that we do have our own landfills. So some of our tipping fees do come back into our health department. That allows us to use some of those tipping fees towards doing things like that to increase our resource and recovery plan.
One more question about cost, and then I'll let somebody else ask a question. When you spoke of the construction to get the base kiosk done, was that all included in the $4,720, or were there additional costs for like a cement pad?
The cement pad was there. We did have to purchase the power supply for the windmill itself was $220.
Okay.
And then the offset of the cost for the buckets and for the liners will be for the clients to use it. So hopefully with the marketing and education on how much less will be going to the landfill, that will be a promising thing for us to get them to be interested in the kiosk.
Thank you so much. Others, as you have questions, please just unmute yourself and ask Melissa. We'll take about maybe even up to 10 minutes.
Hi,
Hey,
Melissa.
Melissa.
Melissa, this is Kay from Scarce.
Yes.
Whoops, I think 2 of us are trying to talk.
It's all right. Go ahead, Kay. I'll jump in later. It's Arlene.
Hi, well, thanks, Arlene. So how much stuff, I missed it, or I'm not sure, but how much stuff will it hold? How many buckets can go into that contraption?
Let's see if it's got it on there. I don't think I have that wrote down in there. I do not. I am sorry.
Okay, maybe we can get back to that, or you can send that to us. Just wondering, I can't tell from the look how big it is.
It's a little bit larger than a 50-gallon garbage container.
Oh, okay, 50 gallons, okay.
But I can definitely get that, and I can send that back out.
Thank you so much.
So Arlene here, what a great project. You guys are doing terrific. So if it's 50 gallons, then it would be 10 5-gallon buckets, which is not a lot. So how often is BetterEarth coming around to empty it? Do you know?
Like I said, this is just starting. We are just getting ready to do a news release this week. Due to the fact of COVID and that we had to switch back to wind energy rather than solar power to get it to work right. We are just getting ready for a kickoff this week on this.
And my next question, sorry to piggyback on that, is there a cost when people get their starter kit, when they get their bucket and their kiosk card, or do they get billed based on the kiosk card, or is it totally being paid for from the funding that comes from the trash tipping fees?
They have an initial cost of $120 that starts them with their key card. It's a year's worth of liners, and then the 5-gallon bucket, the liners, and then the card to get into the kiosk. So it's a starter fee of $120 for the year.
Okay, and then annually they'll get another charge, I'm guessing.
Yes, except for it goes down because they will not have to purchase the bucket or the key card anymore. All they have to do is buy more liners.
Yeah, it's a nice program, $10 a month, and a little bit of effort. Yeah.
And I was thinking it was right around $23.99 to purchase another, looking here, to purchase another year's worth. I think it was $23.99 to get another year's worth of composting liners for your buckets.
Oh, the liners. Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Are there other questions?
Yeah, I'll ask a couple here. Maybe Walter Willis wants to weigh in on this as well. Since you're starting to collect the data, I see you're going to keep track of pounds. Walter, do you think that there's any value in them also keeping track of cubic yards, doing a consistent conversion? Would that help with IEPA reporting?
I mean, it couldn't hurt, but you have to have a pretty robust scale. That stuff can get pretty heavy, but yeah, both is always nice to have, and then conversion data is always good to have, but sounds like everything is in pounds.
Well, cubic yards probably wouldn't be difficult. The unit was full, it should be the same all the time.
Yep.
So as long as he's picking up a full kiosk every time, the cubic yard should be about the same to figure that out. So like I said, I'd be more than happy, you know, in 6 months after we've kicked it off and everybody to come back and give a couple-minute presentation of how it's actually going and what we're diverting.
Yes, please. I think that would be really, really nice.
Yes, we are
Melissa.
very anxious to see how it goes. Unfortunately, COVID sure put a thumbprint on us pretty heavy to get this kicked off when we wanted to get it kicked off by.
My second question, I just wanted to also clarify. So it sounds like this really is a receptacle and not a composting, an in-vessel composting process. The electrical supply is for operating the reader and temperature control, but not
Correct.
for, okay. And the last thing I was gonna say is if you're interested, the Levee District restaurants should know about our We Compost program, so they can get free recognition.
We were actually even, we have a facility that is nothing but seafood. So they have a large amount of waste that is very heavy. With some of the dollars through our tipping fees, we were able to get them so they could compost some different types of containers that did not require them to try to lift everything back into the BetterEarth Logistics truck. So it's been they were very grateful with that, with their back and everything. We've also worked with a couple of other festivals in the area where we gathered all their oils and was able to compost the oils that were used at the festivals and fairs to get those composted also. And we do have, some of those are going to start back up this year, and we've already had Tremont Turkey Festival has already reached out to us in regards to composting those turkey carcasses again.
So innovative. Is there one last burning question before we move on? Thank you so much, Melissa, for your time for this information, and we will look forward to having you back with more data report and successes of this kiosk drop-off.
Yep, and I will try to make sure I get the cubic yards filled in there, Benjamin, for you. So you can kind of see what those are and the pounds. Luke has been great working with us as far as providing those numbers to us.
That's terrific. Thank you so much, Melissa.
Thank you. And I will get back with you. If you could give us about 6 months of trying it out, get us some good data, and we'll come back and let you know how it's going.
You
Hopefully we'll
bet.
set up some more by then.
Continued success. And,
Thank you
and
very much.
hopefully as COVID gets a little bit easier to maneuver around, you won't have as many challenges.
Yes, not having staff is a big one.
I bet. All right, then. Our next thing on the agenda is a board update from Benjamin.
Okay.
I am sorry, but I'm going to skip away because I am the only one here besides one other person. So I am going to skip away, and thank you very